Welcome to the WhatintheShibal podcast with Susie and Ed.
Who?
Susie, I did that last week too. Welcome to this strangers. I don't even know what anything is anymore.
Hello.
Welcome to the WhatintheShibal podcast with Soogia and Ed.
We're just two Asian Americans talking shit about shit. Give me this.
While playing with the puppies.
Give me this.
Puppy.
Give me
Singular.
this. So cute.
For those of you listening in, Archie is with us, and he's feeling a little rambunctious today. Also, he keeps trying to jump off this couch.
To distract him and exhaust him.
Yeah.
Hi, Ed. How are you?
Good. How was your week?
My week. Archie, get back in the. Oh, Jesus. My week was great.
The squishmallow.
I am a volleyball mom now, like officially. So like my whole life revolves around that. Like my work schedule, how I like book my appointments for work, my like schedule for like making content or for filming this, like it all revolves around like what my kids' volleyball schedule is. And I have no time for anything. Like I literally Sunday and Monday of this week gone, totally gone. Ow.
This past week or next week?
This last week. This past Sunday and Monday. My kid had 2 tournaments back to back. They were so far away. Like I just drive all over fucking California and go to tournaments all day long. But the last one we went to was crazy. It was like 20 courts, 100 teams, maybe more than 100 teams all day long. It was so nuts. It was really fun, but it's nuts. Like I get really overwhelmed in situations like that or in like environments like that where there are just like hundreds and hundreds of people going in and out and in and out. And all I'm thinking about is like
just the awareness alone takes so much energy. I feel like.
Yeah. And then, then your head starts to get away from you and you're like, oh my God, could this be like a mass fucking COVID super spreader? Could this be like a fucking, event? You know what? I'm not gonna go to the darkness. I was about to go to the darkness. I'm not going. It was a great tournament. My kid is 4-1. Her team was 4-1. Fantastic. Moving on.
But maybe take a couple masks just in case someone is coughing a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was gonna go to like the sitting ducks and like shooters and all that stuff because
Yeah. Because
that's
like
just the reality we live in.
I don't know if people are aware, but we're like still technically in a pandemic.
Oh yeah.
And they're saying right now is one of the worst outbreaks.
Yeah.
It's just not as.
So if you're on a plane or you're going in public, just wear a mask if you can, and
or don't cough.
Or if you're feeling sick, stay home.
Stay home.
Please do us all a fucking favor.
Because you might bring them norovirus as well as potentially lice.
I don't want that ever again.
Was there any follow-up? No one has lice, right? Everyone's good?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay.
No lice, no more vomit as far as I know in regards to that. We're starting strong. We're starting the new year strong. So
also, I don't know, for those of you guys who watched the podcast, I don't know if you noticed last week, but Archie at one point was wearing this sweater and his leg got caught and he was like trying to climb out of Susie's lap and he couldn't. And then he tries for like 30 seconds and he just gives up and he's like, you know what? It's not bad here.
I'm also in a straitjacket, so none of this matters. How was your week? What did you do this week?
It was good. I didn't really do much, just, make content. But my little nephew's birthday was yesterday.
Oh, cute. How old is he?
He just turned 9.
Oh.
And I'm going to make a video because I filmed it. But I didn't know what he wanted. He's like obsessed with these things called Beyblades, which unless you have like, an elementary school boy, I'm assuming you wouldn't know. They're basically tops. There are tops that are like made up of different.
I thought you meant shirts. Beyblades? I was like a top?
Oh,
like
yeah. Like, no. Like from the 40s toys, like a top, like a spinning top.
Do boys call their shirts tops now?
Like, Ed?
Like
what's happening? What do you wear? But yeah.
Got it. Like
no, it's like
tops.
A toy. Yeah, like a spinning top. But it's made up of like different pieces so that like you're supposed to battle them in this like arena.
Oh, cool.
And then like sometimes they explode. So they're kind of like Pop'em Sock'em meets Tops.
Wait, but Tops don't explode?
Yeah, I know. But
what do they explode with?
Well, that's what I mean. They're like made up of different parts. So the one top has like typically 3 or 4 components. And then like depending on how much they hit each other, it'll
it's
come
more
apart.
Like those robotic competitions.
Yeah, Pop'em Sock'em. That's what I said. Pop'em Sock'em.
Is that what that is? I don't know what that. You keep saying that, but you can keep saying it. I don't know what those are.
Sock'em? Whatever it is.
Rock'em Sock'em.
Yeah.
Those are these.
Yeah. The red and blue and the.
No. But I'm talking about like those robotic engineering shows like colleges have. Like you're supposed to destroy the other.
Yeah. The Robot Wars.
Yeah, but that's not what pop 'em, rock 'em, pop 'em,
No,
sock 'em?
Rock'em Sock'em is that
You
game.
just fight each other, but you don't try to destroy the other.
No, but the one you keep going until the head pops off. Remember?
No.
Yeah. That's how it was.
Got it.
Yeah, you KO'd them when like their head pops off.
Oh, that's
and it's kind of like that. And he's like obsessed with him. When I say obsessed, I mean like all day. Even if it's like just him and his sister, he'll just play like against himself.
That's so cute.
All day. It is cute and slightly sad, but
it's okay for kids to play
with their emotions.
Solitary play is good too,
and
very, very important and vital to their development. You feel bad, you're like, oh, you're playing by yourself, but independence, self-sufficiency, all those things are very important too.
But he plays those all day, and his parents buy him a lot of them. He like probably has like, I'd say like 85%.
I want to see what it looks like. I just need like a visual. Okay, go on.
And so I could have gotten him that, and I did order him one, but then I was like, I was thinking back to my childhood, and my mom bought me a lot of toys, but she refused to buy me video games.
Mm-hmm.
And like my one aunt, she bought all my consoles, she bought all my games. So I was like, you know what? Because his parents don't really buy them for him that much. They bought him a Switch and like a couple games, but it's like, nobody wants their kids to be playing video games all day.
Of course.
Even though he can make you a millionaire before you're even a teenager.
Most parents probably don't want that for their kid either. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I wouldn't mind. But so I decided I was
kids who are millionaires, nothing ever bad happens to them.
Yeah.
They're always really super well adjusted.
That's true. But so I wanted to get him a video game instead. So, I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you want? I was like, name 4 things. I'm going to get you one of them, Because like I like surprising people, but I also like bought him a video game on my mom's behalf last time, and he didn't love it.
Hold on.
So I wanted to get him something he wanted, So then I was like, dang, I took away the element of surprise, even though it's like, oh, it could be one of the 4 things, but it's not the same,
Yeah.
So I got him this Nintendo Switch game that he wanted, and then I had this idea that I'm going to wrap it up to look like something else.
Right, because if you wrap it that, you can tell right away.
Yeah, you can tell right away. And even if you put it in like a bigger box, it's like whatever, So I wrapped it using a lot of paper towels, some like paper and tape to make it look like a stuffed rabbit.
Okay, he showed me the video, and it really looked like one. He did a really good job. I was like very like artistic.
Yep. Art skills. So I take it over to him, and he's like, there was
cool,
like,
stuffed animal things.
Well, before that, even there was like balloons and stuff, for his birthday. And I was like, oh, what are these balloons for? And he's like, my birthday. And I was like, oh, when was that? And he's like, today. And I was like, oh, what time? And he's like, all day. And then for 5 minutes, I kept pretending like I like forgot. And I'd be like, oh, what are these balloons for? And then he started kidding.
He's like, hey, Mom, I'm pretty sure Uncle Ed has amnesia or...
Yeah. We started to get a little upset. And then when he started to get a little bit more upset, that's when I was like, oh, too far.
Gee, you taking a joke too far?
Who would have thought?
Who would have fucking thought?
So I give him the thing, and he's like, he doesn't say anything. Even though you can see in his face, he's like, what the F?
Oh, funny.
And then he starts ripping it apart. And he notices that it's like all paper towels and tape. So then he rips it apart. He finds the game. And then he keeps going. And I was like, oh, that's it. I was like, that's all. I was like, $60, but that was all.
I think he's very grateful.
He was really grateful, but it was really funny. And that was the highlight of my week, other than
your 9-year-old nephew's birthday party.
Yeah. He actually has an actual birthday party this Saturday, which I'm also going to at the Sky Zone. Have you ever been?
Yes. Wait.
The trampoline place.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, of course.
Is it fun?
I didn't jump around. I mean, I have 40 middle-aged kneecaps. What are you talking about? My kids have gone. It's really fun to watch. I'm not much of a trampoliner myself. Also, there's so many kids and little bodies jumping around, and I'm sure that
you don't want to like send someone flying.
No, I don't. Nor do I want them to come flying towards me. So, like, I'm good.
Archie just peed.
Yay! Good boy. You did such a good job. We're so proud of you.
Thank you for not peeing on the couch.
Yeah, or one of my kids' squishmallows.
Yeah.
Good job.
Progress. Also, I don't know if you watched the Emmys last night.
I saw a couple of highlights, but I was out all last night.
Yeah,
so.
I just watched the beginning major ones, and then my ADHD can't handle award shows that long.
Yeah.
But Beef won pretty big.
Yeah. Good.
Ali Wong became like the first Asian American woman to win limited series lead actress. Steve Yeun won. The show won. And then Lee Sung-jin won 2 on his own, one for directing and one for writing.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's really, really great. I'm glad to see it. It's a great show.
They're also very excited about it.
Yeah, right.
In addition, Niecy, do you know Niecy Nash?
Yes, I love her. I love her
Since Reno 911.
That's like the one clip that I saw where she thanks herself, and good for her.
Good for her.
Of course, you should thank yourself. I mean, it's really difficult to stay the course. It's really difficult to invest and have faith in yourself with reckless abandon. And you know what I mean? I'm sure, as you know, a Black woman in the industry she's in, I'm sure, and as she said, so many people told her no. So many people said, you can't do this. You're not going to succeed.
She just had a show just get canceled.
She did?
Yeah, there was a spinoff of like a very popular show called The Rookie, and she was the star of the spinoff show. And there was one season and it just got canceled. I think mostly because of the strike.
Oh, right.
Hiatus.
I'm sure.
But even that got canceled. So for her to win, it was like...
good for her.
She deserved it, and especially after the discourse from Taraji.
Yeah.
Like, everyone should be very aware of how hard it is for Black women in the industry, and for her to stay the course. It's so
crazy.
Yep.
It's so crazy that like we invest so much into them and they get so little in return. That's so fucked up. It's so fucked up.
And Taraji was like, I have to keep working because she's like, I don't make as much as you think I do.
Yeah. You think once you have a couple hit movies, you're fucking millionaire and you're set.
Especially when you're a household name, you would assume that they have money. You know?
I've seen that clip of that movie. What's the one where she works at NASA?
Oh, yes.
Something
Hidden Figures.
Hidden Figures, yeah, where she talks about like, you know, you won't drink from a coffee pot that I've touched or whatever. I've watched that scene and I'm moved by that scene every single time. And like to have that kind of like acting ability and to still be so undervalued it's a fucking crime. It's a crime.
And I don't know her name because I don't watch the show, but there's a Black actress from Abbott Elementary.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a few.
Yeah.
The main one?
Yeah. She won last night, and she's actually the first Black woman to win an Emmy in a comedic role in 40 years, which is wild to me.
It's even wilder to me that that's the 80s. Right.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy. When I think 40 years, I still think like 60s. Yeah, like before.
No, that was just the 80s. You were alive then.
That makes sense because I turned 30 plus 10 this year.
Math.
I turned 30 for the 10th time this year, so that makes sense.
Your 10th anniversary for 30th birthday.
Did I ever tell you that in my 20s, every year I had a reoccurring annual 21st birthday? So up until I turned 30, it was like...
You couldn't fucking pay me to be 21 again. There's not enough money in the world.
No. Not from a life period, but from a numbers period, yes.
Even still. I hear somebody's 21, I'm like, you're an embryo. You don't know.
Oh, I hear someone's 21 and my immediate instinct is, you're probably an asshole.
Well,
that's what I was.
That's ageist.
Well, no, because in my 20s, I was a raging asshole. But... with that note,
speaking of assholes,
we have an episode full of them.
Yay! Wait.
Yeah, for all of our listeners, we have a couple things today. We actually are going to read a couple of the write-ins that we have.
Ooh, yay, I love those.
Yep, so we have a couple of those. And
when I react, I really have no idea what we're talking about until we start talking about it. I'm very busy. I'm never like, hey, just wanted to touch base. What are you talking about? No, I'm like, just lay it on me when we get there. Let's just see what happens.
Unless I can't think of anything. And then I reach out to Susie and I'm like, hey.
And I'm like, don't bother me with these stupid questions, Ed. That's not my department.
Yeah, Ron. Just kidding.
I'm just the talking head, okay?
But we also have a couple of Am I the Assholes, because those are fun.
Am I the Assholes, honestly, are my favorite thing because they're designed to be judged.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're designed for commentary. They're designed to have this like discourse about how you feel about it.
Just like Koreans are designed to be judgmental.
Talk shit and be judgmental. If you hear barking in the distance, it's because my dogs can smell this dog and they really want to play with him. But we can't let them just yet.
Yeah, just because Archie hasn't had all of his shots. And even though I know a lot of people like don't really care and take their little puppies out for walks, I have horrible luck. And the one time I do that, Archie will probably get parvo and die.
He's also 1/10 their size. So I don't know that we can.
Oh, probably less.
Yeah. How much does Archie weigh?
3, maybe less than 3 pounds.
Oh, yeah. Both my dogs are about 75 pounds.
So 25 Archies.
Yeah. Could you imagine 25 little Archies? That would be a mess.
Oh, my God.
It'd be so cute. But yeah, Emma the Assholes are honestly my favorite. I think I myself am the most entertained by them. So I can imagine and I can see why other people are too. I think they're so, I don't know. Like I said, judging people is fun.
Okay. So the first one we have is a write-in from one of our listeners. And it goes like this. Hello, my name is Josephine, and I am
love the name Josephine.
A Korean Italian American 30-year-old. I have to say, I am a huge fan of this podcast and listen to it all the time.
Thanks, Josephine.
Thank you. It's the first podcast that really got my attention because I don't see a lot of Korean-related things on my social media. That makes me think, yes. I've been listening lately, also following Instagram and TikTok.
Thank you.
And there are some episodes where you guys say we can send in questions. Yes, please. I recently listened to this episode. There isn't any dog in this, is there? And I've had my share of these kinds of jokes, bullying, and etc. But there are still comments or questions I get asked, even now as a 30-year-old woman, that still makes my blood boil. Maybe I overreact. I've always been proud of being Korean much more than my Italian heritage, and I talk about everything Korean all the time. It's a better experience because than it was when I was in younger years, but sometimes these questions come up and I take this deep breath. I see my mom get upset or get into arguments if she feels discriminated. If she was a younger woman, she'd probably have a criminal record for all the time she's assaulted a person for messed up comments about Koreans. These are some of the comments and questions I've gotten over the decades, and they still anger me. I still try to stay calm, but it really shocks me how people say these things and not care or realize how terrible it is.
Let me just start by saying, Josephine, staying calm is highly fucking overrated.
But also an art. So, you don't
always have to be calm.
But nothing is an absolute, so it's case by case. Some of the questions or comments that Josephine gets upset about or annoyed about, north or south.
I get that all the time.
I hate that one.
Well, no, but my favorite is when I respond both. I actually am North and South Korean. My father was from North Korea before North Korea was North Korea. So what do you have to say about that? Do you want to talk about what happened to my father's family during the war? Is that what you're getting after? Like, what do you want to know?
Yeah.
What does that inform you of if I tell you what I am?
When I was younger, I used to get really mad at that question because I used to be like, how ignorant do you have to be? No one can leave North Korea.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you think I'm North Korean?
Recently, I grew up and realized that that's not 100% true. There was a lot of defectors and people who left before the divide. So,
well, yeah, it would be like Northern Korean, Californian, but anyway. I'm definitely not Northern Californian.
Ew. No, I'm just kidding.
That's almost a more offensive question. Just kidding. Just kidding, NorCal.
Yeah. Next question. Do you eat dog and what does it, I've never let it get to that second question. What does it taste like?
Come here, Archie.
Do you speak Korean? Can you teach me Korean so I can impress my Taekwondo teacher who is this old Korean man? That one I feel like I wouldn't be as well if a stranger came up to me and said that.
If it's somebody you don't like, you teach them some crazy phrase, tell them that it's something else.
If it's someone that you know who asked that, it's nothing. But if a random stranger came up to me and asked that.
I told you about the time I taught my friends a song, the Santoki song, and I told them, but I completely changed the words and I changed. I've never told you that?
No.
Oh God, this story's so good. Okay, so I have these friends and I love them, but they were always
friends
younger.
Or friends.
They're still my friends, but they wanted me to teach them a song in Korean, but they were always kind of fucking with me about being Korean.
How old were you guys when this happened?
High school.
Oh, okay.
And so they asked me to teach them this song called Santoki, which is like a Korean folk song about a mountain rabbit. And instead, my friend Linda, who's also Korean, she and I changed the words.
Wait, I don't remember the words other than Santoki, Toki.
어디를 가느냐, 깡충깡충 뛰면서 어디를. So it's like, like a little round rabbit. So we changed the song to say, I have a really small dick. I don't know what to do about it. It's really, really, really small. I don't know what to do about it. by our house. And they're like, we know a Korean song. I didn't know they were going to do this. So to the like middle-aged Korean dude, they're singing to him about having a small dick. And I didn't tell them till like a year or two later. I was like, oh, you guys sing it to somebody?
That's
really
hysterical.
sorry, but yeah, I just trolled you guys so fucking hard. I'm so sorry. So anyway, that will happen or could potentially happen if you ask the wrong question of the wrong person.
Or if your attitude is whack.
Right, that too.
What's the motherland like?
Do you eat cats?
It's like the future. That's what it's like.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you eat cats? Ew. Are you going to work in the rice paddy field? Oh, that's not even a microaggression.
That's so
like
fucking
blatantly racist.
Good Lord.
Some of these are blatantly racist, and a lot of them are horrible microaggressions. You're tall for a Korean woman.
I get that all the time. I get that all the time still.
And Josephine got this a lot when she lived with her Italian father and white stepmother, but are you adopted? What a rude, even if they were, that's such an inappropriate question.
It's so invasive. What?
Why does that matter?
Or it's like conversely, like, oh, did your parents have sex to have you? Or did, you know what I mean? It's like, what an invasive question. Who asks that?
It'd be the same as like,
did they have sex and make you, or did they go to an adoption agency? And
how much did your mother's vulva expand?
Right. Like, why? Ugh, that was, you went too far.
Me or that question?
You.
Do you and your sister have different dads? Oh, you don't look as Korean as your mom and sister.
Okay. Like, I always want to ask people when they ask questions like this, if I give you an answer, what is that? What are you going to do with that answer? Or that's not even a question. You don't look as Korean as your mom and sister. Okay. And what are you trying to tell me? That you now think I'm less Korean, or you think that
questions like that make people who are mixed race be like, oh, I'm only, and it's that only when they're like, I'm only half Korean. You're like, no, you're Korean and you're the other. Right. There's no only percentage.
Right. Or when they say like, oh, well, I'm more Korean than you are. It's like, no, we're actually exactly the same amount. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah. My favorite question, okay, back to Josephine's letter.
Sorry.
My favorite, however, is a comment my white coworker heard and told me after the old man in question left. The movie Devotion was in theaters, and it was about the Korean War. This coworker, who was a 17-year-old white teenager boy, was helping with this older white man, and they started to talk about the Korean War because this older man was a veteran and began to tell my coworker about how during the war, Korean women and American soldiers would have, quote, devil babies because Korean women were greedy. Actually, apparently that was an actual slur for Koreans. I felt bad for this coworker because he didn't know what to say, but this old man kept going on about how Korean women were devil women, wanted green cards, only wanted money, and then decided to gloat about how the USA came to the rescue during the Forgotten War. I never heard any of it and was only told after he left our job. I worked at a movie theater at the time. I've learned to handle a lot of things with humor, and while I did laugh about it at times, sometimes I think about this interaction and wonder what I could have done. I'd like to think if I had the interaction, I would have mentioned the fact that I am Korean, talked about the motherland, and tried to make this old man as uncomfortable as possible despite being Korean. I am often mistaken as Hispanic. I'm sorry for rambling. I'm just so happy I came across this podcast and found your social medias. It's one thing to talk about your friends and family about these experiences, but to hear someone else outside of that circle and hearing how enraged they are about these situations is the best thing ever. May my 2024. P.S. I aspire to be like Soogia when I grow up. Well,
yay! Thank you. I'm sorry to tell you, it comes with very bad knees. Wow.
Also, I feel like this is a reason why knowledge is power.
For sure.
Because specifically, I know that's what we're taught in America, but the U.S. joining the Korean War was really horrible for South Korea, actually.
Particularly South Korean women.
Yep. There's a lot of the R word.
So much.
And the comfort women were essentially created because of American soldiers. So there's that.
I'm almost glad that old man is nowhere in the vicinity of my ears. Because if I heard him say anything like that, I'm like, wow. I don't know what I would, I can't contain myself in situations like that. I don't know why, and I don't know how, but that feeling comes over me and I just like see red and I'll go off. I can't help it.
And if I don't have the knowledge to say something educational back that is a burn, then I will attack you personally.
No, you know what? I'm not here to educate everybody all the fucking time. Fuck that.
No,
I'm done with that. Hi, Susie and Ed. I'm 13, female, and have a really, really hard time with my ethnic identity. On one side of my family, I have Australian, Burmese, and Chinese family, and on the other side, I have Dutch and Australian family. The first side of my family is cultural, and I grew up learning a lot about mainly Chinese culture. Now I have disconnected from and no longer see this side due to some personal issues and divorce. I feel that I have lost part of my culture and identity as well, especially because I don't have many Asian features and often get told that I don't, quote, look Asian, since I have strong Dutch genes amongst my other family. I wanted to know what you guys think. I also love your podcast and keep doing what you're doing. First of all, 13. Thank you for listening. I didn't realize that I could capture the attention of a 13-year-old for long enough to actually listen to a podcast. So the fact that you did makes me feel very proud and happy. Thank you for listening. I think a lot of times we look to outside factors to shape, inform, validate our experiences with our cultures. And I don't think it has to be that way. And I feel like if you want to learn more and you want to, delve deeper into who you are culturally, you absolutely have the power to do that. Literally with the thing that you're watching and listening to us on. There's so much information out there. And I'm sure that there are people in your community, or at least I hope that there are people in your community that you can reach out to try to further your education. And I don't want to call it education, your experience and, your personal investment into your culture. And I know that maybe it's difficult when you don't have that familial support in that way. I don't know. I just hope that you can reach out to other people who can help provide that for you.
Yeah. Find a community somewhere, because anything I've learned from this TikTok journey is how important that community is, to be around people who have shared experiences with you, just so you can commiserate, learn from each other. And speaking of communities, also pay attention to other communities, because if I've learned anything from the LGBTQ plus community and other people, it's that your identity comes from within. You don't need other people to validate who you are. You know who you are. You know what you are. You know what I mean? You know what you relate to and what your experiences are. So just remember that and don't let other people tell you otherwise.
And your comment about looking Asian, I understand that not personally. I have a daughter that looks far less Asian than I do, and then that her sister does. And people say that to her all the time. And her response is often,
gross.
How I look on the outside has nothing to do with how I feel about myself on the inside. And also how I look is really none of your business. So, I think that she, I think of all of us, and maybe it's because she looks less Asian, she feels like she wants to invest more because of it. You know what I mean? Like, she wants people to know that she is Asian because she's proud to be Asian and she's proud to be Korean, and she doesn't want anybody to take that away from her. And I don't want anyone to take that away from you either. So, if people say you don't look Asian, say, well, I feel Asian. So that's what's important.
Yeah. And we have an episode actually as well, if you're listening, where we interviewed an artist.
Oh, right.
Their name is Lauren. And they are non-binary.
They have a lot of intersectional identities. Yeah.
And we talked about that a lot, and you might be able to benefit a lot from the stuff that they've said. So
you might also benefit from their artwork. I would definitely say, take a look at the artwork. It really will. I don't know. I looked at the artwork and I was like, wow, it really brings me this sense of like understanding myself. It was really, it's so beautiful.
It's
and
like an ethereal emotion.
Shout out
I don't know if I use that right, but yes.
And thank you so much for writing in.
Yes, thank you.
It means a lot to us.
Last write-in we have, hi, this isn't a question or a story, but I really like your podcast. I listen to it whenever I can, not in a creepy way. Your podcast is just comforting. I don't know. I've been trying to watch the episodes in order, but I've watched your most recent episodes too, and I really loved it. I don't know. I listened to it.
Put that in. That's so cute.
Like when I'm painting or when I'm just at home or like, I don't know, but it's just like really kind of nice listening to people have in-depth discussions about these things. And I think in a similar way to both of you. And like, I don't really know that many people who think like me in this way. And it's just nice to know that there are people out there who do this in this way as well. I'm 18, by the way. I don't really know what to say, but genuinely, thank you so much. I learned so much from the both of you, and your podcast means a lot to me. I don't know. We're not laughing at you. I'm laughing because it's adorable.
Is so endearing. Yeah. I love it.
I'm not a person of color, but it's really nice to learn about some of you guys' experiences, Asian Americans and all. And I love learning and listening to you both about how we can all be better humans. And I don't know, but thank you again. I hope you both have a lovely day. In the off chance this email is mentioned in the podcast, I'd like this email to be anonymous. Thank you. Also, I use they, them pronouns.
Thank you for that. This was one of the cutest.
Yeah, that was adorable.
See, I love it. And we appreciate that, especially when we get feedback from people who are non-Asian, because you don't know if it's going to resonate, right? We talk about this so much and it's so personal. And I feel like, I sometimes feel like, just our community is listening, and it's not true. And the idea that people outside of our community want to learn about it so that they can kind of go into the world more informed, that's so meaningful to me personally. I feel like, putting this out there, it's not just for one person or one type of person. It's for all of us to understand and learn, from each other. So it means a lot to hear that it's resonating in that way.
And honestly, people who want to diminish ignorance by learning more about as much as they can, you're also part of my community as well.
Absolutely.
That is a community that I will always, always support.
And I think something, I was telling you earlier, the reason I do this and talk about this in the way that I do is because I didn't know. I didn't know so much.
Yeah, we didn't have a WhatintheShibal.
There was none of that. All the things that I learned, all the experiences, all the difficulties that I had to go through, and just like the lumps were things that I shouldn't have experienced. You know what I mean? As a child or as a young woman, these are things that why did I have to endure such painful experiences at the expense of my ethnicity because I'm Korean or because I'm a woman, all of these things. And being able to put out into the world, these things are not acceptable. These things should have never been acceptable. And the fact that they were for so long is why I'm putting out there that it's fucking not. And I don't want anyone to go through the things that we went through in this way unnecessarily. There's no reason. I was talking to Ed about this candy that I liked as a child. And it didn't even occur to me. I don't want to deviate too much, but really quickly.
It was super racist.
It was. Okay, so
I've never even heard of it, but she showed me the wrapper.
So my kid and I are talking about candies that I liked in the 80s. And I'm explaining to her there was these candies. They were they all came in these little boxes, and they were lemon heads and Alexander the Grape. And there was one called Johnny Appleseed. But my favorite one
of them was called Alexander the Grape.
Yes.
So amazingly.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Right. And then I was but there was also this flavor called Cherry Clan. And I wish that I could do editing. Maybe you can do it. The image of it just slapped me in the face. And I'm looking at it in my mind, and I'm oh my God, put the picture up. Show the fucking picture.
Well, it probably slapped you in the face already.
Okay, good. It's this you can see it. I'm sure you're showing it right now. These racist caricatures, this one of those Chinese pagodas, I think it's what it's called. And this Chinese style writing, and it's called Cherry Clan.
And they're also wearing those rice field hats.
Yes. So I'm thinking about this, and I'm oh my God, I didn't realize that this candy I was buying was so racist. Then I go further into what this candy was, or the wrapper of the candy was. It was originally called Cherry Chan, which was named after the character Charlie Chan, which was played by a non-Asian actor to yellowface a Chinese character. I was there's so many layers to how fucking racist this fucking candy wrapper is.
The image of the candy wrapper is almost reminiscent of everything that was wrong with Pekin, Illinois, if you remember that.
Yes.
It was that same image, the same red pagoda, all of it.
Exactly. And I just flashed to like me with my like wrinkled $2 at the corner store buying this racist fucking candy. And like that,
Hi, I would like a cherry clan.
I want to buy this racist ass fucking candy. And like literally,
Was the store owner white?
no, he was this wonderful Indian man named Ronnie.
Oh my God, he probably wanted to be like, oh,
Oh, you don't even know.
Yeah.
You don't even know how fucking racist this
Actually, he
candy
might
is.
have not even known
I know,
at the time.
and that was the thing. It was like, it was just acceptable. It was that, and that's my whole point is like, it was so acceptable and it was just ingrained into who I was or this identity that I was trying to form for myself with all of this like racist imagery. And I'm like, oh, this is what people think of Asian people. And now that I know better, like I want to make sure that, you know, kids now don't feel like that because that was, I didn't even realize.
That's the thing. People are always like, oh, it was a different time. Yeah, it was a different time. We didn't have the means to connect with our community online. So even though we saw it, and if we were aware of it, you'd be like, oh, I'm pretty sure this is racist. But like everyone around you, it doesn't look like you. And they're telling you that you're being sensitive and you can't connect with the other Asian people who are like, no, this is fucking racist.
Right.
But now we have that ability.
Right.
So it's not that it was like a different time then. You're right. It was a different time. We didn't have the technology to be able to connect with each other and validate exactly how we felt. And then by not being able to do that, we didn't have the confidence to speak up. Now we do.
The safety.
Right.
To speak up.
Yes.
Okay. So wait, what was it? Oh, okay. But thank you for listening to the podcast. And thank you for being part of our community. It means a lot. Thank you.
All right, here we go. So for the first, am I the asshole?
Buckle in.
So my nephew, 7 years old, repeats a lot of shit he sees on the internet. Recently, he's been calling Asian people ching chong. This has gotten him in trouble at school, but his parents don't actually care about it. They only told him not to say it, and not that it's degrading and racist. When I brought it up to my sister that he still says it around family, she simply said, I'm too much of a snowflake. Oh.
Wait, so fuck you.
Yep. Ignoring the fact that she's blown a gasket over, quote, reverse racism.
No, of course they have.
Could have guessed every single one of this so far. So I've decided to teach him myself. At first, I told him that it's mean to say that to people because what if people made fun of him for being white? He said he simply didn't care.
It's not the same.
Yeah, not the same. However, he is incredibly self-conscious about his glasses, so I decided to use that instead in a different way.
Yesterday, eyes. I'm just kidding. We're all wearing glasses.
Yeah, so it's allowed. Yesterday, my sister asked me to pick him up from school, and when I arrived at the pickup point, a group of Asian students passed by, and he started to pull his eyes back and saying, ching, ching.
So was he okay after you slapped him? Just kidding. I don't believe in child abuse.
I said loudly, nephew, at least they can actually see without needing big ass glasses.
Damn.
And one of the students said, yeah, my grandmas need glasses too, but they're not as big as yours. Oh my God. My nephew was visibly upset after this, and on the way home, he cried and yelled at me. I told him, now you know how those students feel, but he wouldn't listen. After I dropped him off at home, I told my sister what happened, and she got visibly upset and yelled at me saying that was too far and I shouldn't have done that. Am I the asshole? Also, the next time I pick up my nephew, I will explain to him that how he feels now is how those Asian students felt when he made fun of them. I thought he already said that, but no, you're not the asshole. That mom is a raging asshole.
I have a hard time
and that
with
little
this
kid
one,
is too.
and I'll tell you why. Obviously, like throughout the reading of this, I was joking about, you know, whatever. I don't know that it's as effective to bully a kid to teach them about bullying. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do, but I don't.
No, you're talking about, you're trying to feel gratified in that, but that kid's 7. That kid is 7. So bullying back to teach the behavior, to stop the behavior is like, it's like hitting a kid to teach them to stop hitting. It doesn't make sense to me. I try to lead with empathy when I teach my children about why certain things are hurtful.
Yeah.
But I don't bully them to try to get the message across.
No.
So do I think you're the asshole? No, I don't think you're the asshole for wanting to teach the kid why it's wrong.
You could have done it a different way.
But I think I could see why your sister would think you're the asshole for bullying her kid. You know what I'm saying?
And if you want to get the point across to your sister, Susie does have a good point. You don't want to give her ammo to the point where she's like, what you did was wrong.
Right.
You could have used the same information without actually bullying him about it.
Well, and also you're the grown up. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to lead by example, and it's like when my kids fight and one of them is wrong, but the other one is louder and hits harder back. It's like, well, now you're the one in trouble because you did the exact same thing, but you did it worse because you did it harder, meaner, you're older, whatever the dynamic is. So when you're trying to teach a kid, like, hey, don't bully.
Yeah.
Let me show you how bad it feels. All they do is internalize those bad feelings and then they need to output those again. So I feel like it just reinforces the behavior, honestly. But again, I'm no perfect mom, but
if the writer had waited till a point where that kid felt that way from something else and then use it as a learning point.
Or it could have just been, you know how, you wear glasses and that's not something that you choose to do. You do it because you have to. You haven't been given a choice because if you don't wear your glasses, you can't see. It's like being born with something different, like being Asian or being born with a disability or being born with, any number of things. Wouldn't that feel terrible to be made fun of something you cannot control? It's something that you had no control over and that people think that you are less worthy of respect for because of it. Wouldn't that make you feel terrible? And being able to, I think, enforce compassion and empathy, I think for me it works for me. It might not work for everybody, but that's also because you don't have the support of the parents who, in my opinion, are assholes.
They are definitely.
So I can see why that would be challenging.
But also what you're saying makes sense as to why the kid wasn't able to connect those dots. Because when you explain it to them that way, you're giving them the obvious parts, which is the fact that they weren't able to connect those dots.
Right.
When you do bully them back,
right,
he's not going to be able to connect those dots because he's focusing on how you made him feel.
Right. Empathy has to often come, it's very difficult. Empathy is a practice. It's not something that some people have it naturally, but some people have to practice at it. And being able to put yourself in a position where you can identify with the person, sometimes you have to put them there. Let me put you in that position, and then you can look from the inside out what that feels like.
But you can do that verbally.
Right.
Yeah.
And, not hurt a kid's feelings. Because that's, again, not reinforcing the positivity. You read. I don't want to.
Am I the asshole for hiding my snacks and refusing to share with my pregnant stepmother until she pays me?
Okay, wait.
What? I'm going to read that one more time. Am I the asshole for hiding my snacks and refusing to share with my pregnant stepmother until she pays me? Okay, let's get into it because I'm confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need a little more.
I like certain snacks that you can only get at the Asian food market where I live. They are strange flavors and spices, but I think they are delicious. Maybe replace strange with different.
Mm-hmm.
I was at my dad's house.
Unusual.
Different. I was at my dad's house about 2 weeks ago, and his wife said my snacks smelled good and asked to try some. I said, sure, and let her have a few. Later that day, I went to get some more from the cupboard, but they were all gone.
She's pregnant.
She had eaten like 4 bags of them. That's like $20. Plus, now I have to go all the way downtown to get more. Yeah. I asked my dad if he could please give me a ride and replace my snacks. He said no, and that sharing is caring. Bullshit. So now I have to take what I'm going to eat there and leave the rest at my mom's house. My father says that his wife is craving the snacks I had before. I told him where to buy them. He asked me to just pick some up the next time I went. I said I would as soon as he paid me for the ones she already ate. He said no, that we are family and we share.
That's not sharing. That's you asking me to go buy something for something. That's not sharing.
I said, fine, then give me the money to buy some for her and some for me, and we will share.
Right.
He said that's not how sharing works.
It actually is exactly how sharing
works.
That is
how sharing works. He says I'm being a little jerk since he feeds me at his house. I should share the snacks I buy with my own money. That's a hard no from me. I just think I will stop taking any over there.
I think we need a little more context, though. Like,
age.
Is this an adult? Is this a child? Like, what is the,
Age is the context we need.
If they're like 13 or 14 and like money is scarce because they just have like, do people deliver newspapers anymore? Is that still a thing?
Unless you can deliver it to my phone.
Or, you know what I'm saying? But if this is like an adult person that lives off of their parent, I don't know. Although I have been a pregnant person and sometimes you can't fucking control it and you're just going to eat everything, okay?
Yeah. So the first time makes sense though, but the dad, I feel like, is kind of being an asshole.
Yeah, the dad's a dick.
Instead of being like, you know what I mean? Like, you have a job and you make money. Unless your son in this scenario or daughter, I'm not sure, is like 30.
Yeah.
But even then, it's a little presumptuous.
I don't know. I'm a big snack sharer. You know what I mean? I think also that's just culturally, like our Korean food culture is communal.
Yeah, in Korean, we don't say hi, how are you? We say, did you eat? Yeah.
You know,
that's like the first thing you say.
Or like something my husband remarked on, that he was so like not taken aback. He was like, this is so unusual. Like when my family and I sit down to eat dinner, if we're at like a plated restaurant, like a non-Asian restaurant, we all, before anybody takes a bite, we all cut our food up and like literally pass a bite to every single person at the table. And he's like, that's not something that, you know, my family does. I'm like, I don't know how to eat.
That's scary. That's weird
I don't know
to
how
me.
to eat if I don't. We've eaten together. I'm like, here, take a bite of this. Take a bite of that. You know, like that's just how it works.
You want to try everything.
So like sharing is just like natural. Like my daughters have this one friend who doesn't share. And it's really hard for me. Like when we like give out snacks or like whatever. And like my daughter says, oh, can I have one of those? She says, no, these are mine. I'm like, what do you mean no? We share everything. What do you mean no? No. You know, like what? It's just not something that I'm accustomed to hearing people say.
Yeah, it's weird to me that you want to eat 30 bites of the same thing instead of 15 bites of that and then one bite of 15 others.
I just want one bite of 15 things.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's why like when my sister and I go to weddings, it's like our happiest day. We're like, woo! Like, it's my favorite. Like I'd much rather do that. That's Korean food. That's banchan is like. There's like 30 dishes on the table. You get one, like something different with every bite. But that's how I liked it. What the fuck were we talking about?
You know.
Oh, so who's the asshole? I don't feel like you should have to pay for the snacks of your stepmother. But again, you live in their house.
I mean, like this is the hill the dad wants to die on. Like that's petty as fuck. Yeah. That's asshole behavior.
I agree.
All right. Am I the asshole for refusing to stop cooking and eating in my kitchen because of my roommate's girlfriend's condition? What? Condition was in quotes.
Oh, this is going to be dumb. I know it.
I feel like this is entirely ridiculous. That's the first line.
There we go.
I live with my roommate. Let's call him, quote, Matt. We used to be pretty close friends, but over the last 2 years of living with him, we've drifted apart. And now I'm just waiting for Elise to move out on my own. Matt's girlfriend, we'll call her Sarah. That's funny.
Okay, I'm not going to say anything about Matt's or Sarah's, but go on.
Other than Sarah from the Kung Pao Chicken.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Pretty much lives with us despite not paying rent.
Nope.
I won't lie, she annoys me to no end.
I bet.
She's an entitled airhead who thinks the world revolves around her. Anyway, Sarah has a condition, quotes, where she gets nauseous at the slightest smell and sight of certain foods.
So go home, Sarah. Go home. Go to your home where you can cook your fucking toast.
So her condition is ignorance and racism. Got it. She's an incredibly picky eater, aka racist, and anything outside of corn dogs or chicken.
Did you call her a racist? I was like, wait, that doesn't say that. Okay, you're ad-libbing, sorry.
And anything outside of, surprise, corn dogs and chicken tenders make her nauseous according to her. Well, unfortunately for her, I like to cook. I love heavily spiced foods and love to cook Asian-style dishes. So living with a toddler who can't stand the smell really sucks. Shouldn't suck for you.
The worst part is you don't live with her.
It should suck for her.
Yeah, fuck that.
Sarah has always complained about me cooking, quote, smelly foods and has asked me to stop or do it when she's not home.
Bitch, this is not your home.
Yeah.
Yeah, your home doesn't smell like that. Yeah. Go to there.
Once you pay an equal amount of rent, I will then consider it maybe.
Sarah.
Well,
I would cook the stinkiest shit you could find. Yeah. I would be so petty.
I wouldn't even eat it. Just buy durians everywhere.
Literally.
Put it in her room.
In her pillowcase.
Well, considering she does not pay rent and spends 18 hours a day at my home, I have not accommodated her at all.
Good.
Last night, Sarah and Matt sat me down and told me I need to stop cooking because Sarah cannot stand it anymore.
I can't.
Apparently, quote, she had a mental breakdown last week when I was cooking curry. She claims I am making our apartment, quote, a hostile environment by ignoring her concerns. I told them both to piss off until Sarah starts paying her share of the rent. Matt said that because he lives here, his opinion matters as well, and he wants me to stop, then move out.
You're a bitch, Matt.
I told him no to that as well, because he's only doing this because Sarah is being a racist baby. It just says baby.
Parentheses with the
He ended up having a massive argument, and neither of them is talking to me. Both are staying at Sarah's mom's house right now. I say good riddance.
Oh, that's why, because Sarah doesn't have her own place. She lives with her mom.
Yeah, so she's a freeloader.
Yeah,
at least I did until I told the story to my coworkers, and they were all shocked. They say I'm being a complete a-hole.
What?
This has given me second thoughts if I was the asshole in the fight we had. No.
Okay, you need to relocate both your living and work environment situations because no. What?
I'm assuming you live in like Nebraska.
Hi,
you need to move.
I don't live here. Do what I tell you to do. Hello? What? Sarah, it's time for you to fuck off all the way. Go. Oh my God. What? If somebody came into my house who didn't live there and told me I couldn't do what I wanted, hello?
Do you want to hear something funny?
Yes.
When Ron and I first moved from Philadelphia to LA, back to LA, because, LA native. No, I'm just kidding. Originally, we had a roommate.
Mm-hmm.
I moved in with my one buddy from college who was already living in LA. And he was going out with this girl. So when we moved into this 3-bedroom house, 3-bed, 2 baths. And I took what is it called now? I took the primary bedroom.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't want to use that.
Yeah. Okay.
I took the primary bedroom that has the ensuite bathroom in it.
Yeah.
But I originally told him, because he told us from the beginning, my girlfriend's probably going to be here a lot, So I was like, hey, you guys should take the primary suite because it has its own bathroom. And he was like, no, I can't afford that. So he was like, no, you take it. So I was like, fine. But I kept doing it. Even as moving, and I was like, are you sure you don't want this?
Yeah.
He was like, no, you take it. So we're living there. First off, he gets insecure because we bought most of the furniture because he kept telling me he can't afford it. And then later on, I found out that his expectation was that we lived without furniture until he was comfortable enough to afford it, which is like, I just want to set the scene for how fragile this ego was.
I don't understand. You have to sit on the floor because he can't afford a couch?
Apparently.
Because that makes him feel weird?
Apparently, when we had this big blow up before I kicked him out of the house.
But wait.
Spoiler.
Hold on, though. Why would that matter? Because eventually you guys are all going to relocate and whoever bought the couch keeps the couch. So why the fuck does he care?
Because it made him insecure.
What are you going to go like threesies on a couch?
I don't know. Apparently, it made him insecure.
Oh my God, grow up.
I had no idea. What? It was while this blowout fight before I kicked him out, he was like, and you bought all the furniture and and I was like,
you're welcome.
Yeah, I was like, what? Dude?
You're fucking welcome. Sell the fucking
I was like, I saved up because knowing that I was going to move for a year, and I was like, what?
There's a very simple solution. Don't use any of it. Sit your ass on the floor, eat with your fingers instead of a fucking fork. Like, that's your fucking problem. Sorry.
So how long were we living there, Ron? Maybe like 3 months. It was like around like the 3-month mark when we'll just call him Jay. For Jacob. So Jay goes up to Ron at the 3-month mark and he goes, hey man, do you mind using Ed's bathroom? I don't like that another guy is sharing a bathroom with my girl.
In a apartment house or whatever that she doesn't pay rent for or actually live in?
Yes.
Oh, Jacob, fuck off. God.
So then Ron's like, what do you want me to do? You want me to when Ed's sleeping or if Ed's doing something else in his room, and I have to go to the bathroom?
Well, because I imagine you would have to go through your room to get to the bathroom. It's not just it's not like its own door.
Nope. So then he's like, yeah, just buy other showering stuff and just put it in Ed's room.
That's not how, oh God. That's so, was Jacob Asian?
No.
Not that I didn't say anything. Calm down. I was just asking a question.
No. Jacob was mixed race, but not Asian. His girlfriend was, because Jacob had yellow fever.
Oh boy. That is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what? We should just rename the podcast to Fuck Off. Everybody's fuck
It kind of
off.
almost is.
Yeah. In case you didn't know, like, fuck off. Like, what do you mean? What? You don't pay for rent and you're telling me what I can and can't do in my own home like that?
That I pay
Not even
rent
what I
for.
can and can't do. Well, you're telling me what I should do. You're telling me to no. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, which is a wild thing to do because we gave him a solution before we moved in and while we were moving in.
Well, and also, if you can't afford it, you cannot also afford to make demands on it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't.
Because the other point is, you can't afford a place on your own, so just shut the fuck up.
And neither can your girlfriend, so fuck off.
Yeah, she lived at her parents' house.
And that's okay. There's
That's
nothing wrong
fine.
with that. But you can't tell people who are paying to live in their own home what. Oh my God.
All right, the last one. Am I the asshole for refusing to add food to my delivery for my roommate to save her money?
Why are these all like what? Was this like the financial edition?
The financial edition. I, 28 male, live in Canada. My roommate, 29 female, and I usually get along well. I'm originally from China and have family and savings in accounts there. The other day, my roommate commented that I must spend a lot on takeout as I order a takeout like 4 to 5 times a week.
That's a lot.
I then explained to her that I don't really spend as much. I only order from a small number of Chinese restaurants who have an agreement with me and don't use standard delivery apps. I pay them in yuan and arrange the delivery over WeChat so there is no tip and tax, and they give me discounted prices. A week later, she didn't have many groceries left and asked me to add something for her and she will pay me back. I refused because she isn't part of the agreement and I don't want to betray the restaurant's owners, and also she wouldn't be able to pay me back in yuan. She seems upset and isn't being as cordial. Am I the asshole? Real quick, updates. Okay, the problem has been solved. I contacted 2 of the restaurants, which are the ones I frequent the most, and they told me it is fine to order for my roommate and she can order herself if she installs WeChat. We don't want to use WeChat. She doesn't want to use WeChat, so I have told her she can ask me. For those saying tax evasion, etc., these restaurant owners are really kind people and often even give free meals at the restaurants to Chinese international students who are struggling. Sometimes others too, not just Chinese, just that most customers there are Chinese. I work now and I'm not a student anymore, but they know that and said I can still use the services. This is a lot cheaper than Uber Eats and DoorDash, but the only thing is you need to order only at lunch or dinner time. For sure, the whole tax evasion thing, not a great look. You know, you don't want to get them in trouble, but I don't know how I feel about this one.
I don't think I understand it. So he's ordering like low key and they're kind of like under the table kind of stuff. So his roommate wants to piggyback off of his orders, but he feels bad doing that to people who are already doing shit under the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't want to feel like they're taking advantage. Like the best way I can think of this is like, let's say I'm going to procure marijuana.
Give me some.
And like I have a friend who gives it to me for a special rate because we're great friends.
Okay, yeah.
You know? And then you were like, hey, the next time you go, can you grab me like a gram? And then I'd be like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that because like he gives me a special price as a friend and I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage of it.
And from there, I'd be like, I get that. Never mind. It's all good. I can pay retail. But she was pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I don't know if she was pissed.
Or she just said
she was upset and isn't being as cordial, which may be his very nice way of saying
she's an asshole. You know, I don't know. I don't feel like anybody owes anybody anything, especially when it's kind of like a special like deal or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you know, he could have asked in advance of being like, no. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't sound like these people are being too terribly discerning with what they're doing.
And it seemed like maybe it took him a second to realize, like, oh, maybe I can just ask them for her.
Just ask them. Yeah. That's always my go-to. Like, I can't do it for you, but I can definitely ask. Let me ask. It couldn't hurt, you know, whatever, because I don't speculate that's not my decision to make for somebody else on somebody else's behalf. So that could have all just been avoided, I think, with just a little simple communication. That's it. I think that's the bulk of why a lot of these scenarios happen is because people just don't communicate.
Yep. Or
they communicate shitty shit.
Want to understand even. That's a big one too. Yeah.
Right.
But Yeah. So, take away from this episode, if you don't want to be an asshole, try to listen and try to understand.
You're falling down. She's just a baby. Are you guys loving the Archie content or what? Like, it's just the cutest thing. Can they even see him?
Yes.
Zoom in.
For those of you who follow me on TikTok, there will be an update on Archie soon. Nothing catastrophic or big happened. I just mean like, hey, look, here's a week update.
Look at him again.
Look at all the cute, funny things that happened in the last 10 days.
He is very cute and funny.
Including, I think I'm going to include in one of those, the AI takes those photos and then they like
the zoom out. Uh-huh.
I did a couple of those and they're kind of hilarious.
I want to see them.
But on that note, thank you for joining us.
Thanks,
if you
guys.
are want to help us keep this podcast sustainable, think about joining our Patreon, where we do occasionally give you some content as well. But mostly, it's mostly for us, to help keep it sustainable, like I already said. But hey, if you
hey,
you can also follow us on our socials.
You can find me at Soogia1 on TikTok and Instagram.
I am at Etch-a-Sketch with a J. You can find the podcast at WhatintheShibal. That's SHIBAL. And Archie also has one too. Archie and Colt. That's Archie with an IE.
How do you have time to do? I digress.
I know. That's why there hasn't been that many updates, but I promise I will. Also, if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and
bing bong. I don't know. I couldn't think of one.
And am I forgetting something? No. Other than that, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Okay, bye.